Hey guys, Ryan DeMent here. Hope you guys are having a great day. Welcome to episode 5. We're going to talk about a 4-letter word with 5 letters. Credit. Talk a little bit about the credit journey, what goes into the formulas, some basic information over it, and then talk a little about what happened for us last week, and then also the couple that is looking to buy our Indiana house. So let's get to it. Credit. Baby. It's a 4-letter word for most. I think it's a 4-letter word for me at times. Being an entrepreneur, I funded the business initially with my own personal credit cards and lines of credit. Was it the right way to do it? Probably not, but it was the easiest way to get started, and I worked my way through that. I'm still paying off some of that debt. I'm in that boat, but guess what? I'm at a place to where now I can afford some of it, and I can put large chunks to it and get it paid off. But some people just don't get past that. And one of the things that we have to do is know your credit. Don't be afraid of it. Don't put your head in the sand. Go get your credit report. Freecreditreport.com. It's an Experian product. It's free. They don't get much of your information other than your basics so they can verify who you are. No cost to you. You can get it every year. And guess what? You'll know where you stand. And one of the things that I get every single day from people is, yeah, my FICO score or my credit score is 700. I have them go pull their credit for free, and unfortunately, it's not 700. It's more like 550 or 520. And there's collections on there. There's charge-offs on there. There's delinquencies on there. There's litigation files on there. There's all types of stuff that's on there that either you don't know or you just don't want to know. Well, guess what? Credit can be your friend and an enemy, but you've got to work with it. And if you don't work with it and understand how it works, then you're not going to get anywhere in any type of process. Nonetheless, being a homeowner, because being a homeowner means you got to have decent to good credit to get a mortgage from any lender. Even if you were going to buy a house on contract, at least from us, you're not going to come in at a 480 FICO score and expect to get a contract from us. We would then look at that and say, wow, there's a lot going on there, want to work with you, but ultimately that's something we're not going to be able to do. You've got to show some type of credit worthiness to us, saying that you have the ability to repay the loan and not default on it. And we don't want to set you up for default or not succeeding at all, because we're in the game of putting people in homes that otherwise didn't think they could. And in the end, we want them to succeed and continue to go down the path and begin to grow. Then they've got the first house under the belt. A couple years down the road, I want to rent this house out. I want to buy a bigger house. Boom, now you become a landlord. Now you've got some extra income coming in. So now you've got an investment going. So now you've started another layer of your financial tree that can only bring great things to you. So let me show you a little bit about credit history and so forth. Hold on one second. All right, guys, I'm back. Here's what's going on here. So credit ingredients right here to the left. This is my own stuff. You can see my initials, my own Experian account. I pay for this. This helps me through my credit, helps me get through the journey and get through things done. So look at the ingredients. Payment history, 35%. Amount of debt, 30%. Length of credit history, 15%. Amount of new credit, 10%. And then the credit mix of all the types of different credits you can have. Auto, credit card, home, or mortgage, retail. Those are some examples of credit mix. So, payment history. This is probably the biggest piece that I see on a daily basis and I hear about is my history is great, or I've got charge-offs, or whatever the case is. You can see the credit bureaus weigh 35% of this on the whole process. So it's a huge weight. And the amount of debt that you're carrying. 65% of it is actually based upon these two categories. So what happens if you can clean this up and make it work for you? I would say you could actually get yourself a mortgage, get yourself a new car, can get a credit card and stay within reason. But you need to be aware of it. If you don't understand what your history is, your payment history, and you've got charge-offs and collections and delinquencies, and you have litigation files or judgments against you, that's going to kill your FICO score. So what are you going to do? You have to be aware. So the first place you need to go is to go get a free credit report and understand where everything is at. If you don't understand where everything's at, you can't get anything done. Period. End of story. So, ingredient-wise, payment history, amount of debt. So then the amount of debt is what, when you're looking at a mortgage, we call it DTI, debt to income ratio, which plays a large amount towards, or I should play and back up, a factor into getting a mortgage. And depending on the type of loan, some lenders want 38% or less, or 35%, or 30% DTI. So that means the amount of bills you have with the amount of income, those bills are only 30% of what you bring in on a monthly basis. So if you're upside down, if you're upside down on your amount of debt and you're carrying a crap load of it like I did, I still have a bunch, but not as much as I did before, then there's not many lenders that are going to touch you because you're a high credit risk. So you have to work on that. Now, the amount of debt also in there is also your collections, your charge-offs, your litigation files, all the above. That is factored into your amount of debt. That's also factoring into your FICO score. Late payments, charge-offs, collection accounts, and litigation or judgments. All of those play into that. And that falls in here, amount of debt. Payment history, 65% right there. You're affecting it. So until you know what your credit looks like, you can't fix it. So go get your free credit report and then you go from there. But the biggest thing that you've got to do is take action. If you don't take action, nothing will ever happen. You can't wish it. You actually have to do it. So go get the freecreditreport.com, take a look at it, and know what you're up against. So this week and last have been some pretty good weeks in multiple departments. Start out with a couple that is looking to buy our Indiana street home. I told you guys before, they've been on a journey for almost 6 months trying to get everything put together for their credit. They finally have it together. They got pre-approved to purchase the home. As I record this today, they are actually in underwriting, and we're looking to close around the 15th or so of August. Appraisals already come in, so that's looking good. Now it's just working through the process, making sure they can get their credit, they can get underwriting taken care of. Credit's already been passed. Ratios are in line. They're just really, really excited about what they're doing, and they can't believe that they're actually going to be homeowners. And one of the things the very first time, I don't think I've told this story, the first time I got to meet them, they walked the house and they even brought tears to my eyes because they were pretty emotional and couldn't believe that they actually had the ability to purchase a home. Every other house that they looked at in the past or they'd been looking at in that price range had major work that needed to be done, and that didn't work for them because they didn't have any other budget. They needed to find a move-in ready home that was safe and affordable for their family, and they actually did. So stay tuned. We're actually going to put them on one of our future vlogs. We're also going to get some press coverage with it from Evansville, Indiana. So we'll be sharing all of that. So we're looking forward to that. So that's cool. Last but not least, last week we were able to close on our Columbia house. Like I told you before, the house was not even completed yet, and the individual that bought it is a 21-year-old female that is expecting her first child. She was totally enthusiastic about the property and signed on the dotted line very quickly And Tuesday last week, we closed it. Cool thing about this is the house turned out phenomenal. I'll share some links to the actual house, the pictures, in the actual bio section of the post. But the other cool thing about it is the neighborhood is starting to look up. There's a gentleman that owns multiple rentals around us. He's really working on his properties. That's a beautiful thing that we're starting to see. People are wanting to take care of their houses. The other thing is we're going to do some work for them, so that's exciting too. Do some roofs, do some siding, do some rehabbing on the interior of these houses. So that's good. Helping property values. The other cool thing is I thought it was going to be a stretch in this neighborhood to get this house sold for the price that we sold it for. It actually sold very well. It sold at that price that I wanted to hit. And it's because I actually have been talking to quite a bit, or quite a few, should I say, appraisers. And there's some nuances that are different from market to market that we go through. And one of the things I found out is most of our homes are not listed on the MLS because we don't need a realtor. We typically sell them at or around the time that we finish them. This one was sold before, so I had no reason to list it. And one of the things that these appraisers are telling us is we are doing a disservice to us, especially since we're going into markets that no one else is going into. And there's no record of us selling these properties, so they can't use them as comps. So we're working with our local our local real estate broker, and he's going to help us make sure they're listed so we can actually get those on the MLS and get credited for those actual comps and sales. It's also going to help out other people in the neighborhoods because it's going to bring values up. But the other thing is, it's cool to see that the neighborhoods are changing because of what we're doing. And that's what really gets me fired up and excited to do more of these. It's just a great feeling. And that's why we're moving. We just literally today got a cash offer on our Chandler house that we purchased from the land bank that we were going to rehab, but now we've got this long runway of new builds that we need to do, 15, 16 that we need to do, and that's going to take precedence. So we actually got a cash offer today on it. We'll get that closed. We'll be able to get out of that piece of the business. But the awesome thing is now we've got a runway that we have 15 new builds coming up that we've got on the roadmap, ready to go, and all we got to do is just go execute. And that's the best thing about this is we've been able to refocus all our efforts from rehabs and notes to where we're going to be a little mix of rehabs, which will come down the road again. We'll have some new builds, and we'll always have notes. And then coming soon, someone asked me last few weeks to be able to do this, and we're starting to flesh out the idea. But this is a coming soon is, hey, if you're looking for a home, you want to buy a home, and you just don't have the credit, but you're willing to work to get there, we're willing to partner with you or buy the home, get you in the home, and then we'll figure out how to get you bankable and get you a mortgage down the road. But it takes two to tango. We can buy it, we can get you in, but you got to do the work on your credit. So be on the lookout for that because that's an exciting piece of our business that we're expanding. It is just phenomenal that we can have that option out there because, again, it's another form of notes. I love notes. Notes are our thing. We've diversified ourselves in multiple different areas, but notes are always going to be my passion. All right, guys, done for the week. Hope you guys have a great, productive week. Let me know what you think of episode 5. Share your thoughts, share your comments. I look forward to hearing from you guys. I'll see you on the next cast.